Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Marcus, and there's something I need to get out of my disgusting cis straight Caucasian male chest, if you were. uh, what do I mean about this? What do I mean exactly? Well, I hate the modern video game industry. I'll be honest, I hate it. And I don't mean I hate it in the sense of, oh, I hate video games, they'll bring violence and all that nonsense because, well, that's just it, it's nonsense. I hate the practices of the quote unquote AAA developers. And what do I mean by practices exactly? Well, from politicizing everything to microtransactions to day one DLC to the on disc locked content and everything in between. So I'll be addressing these few points, but I don't want to make a thesis out of this. It's more like an emotional, unscripted rant. And when I mean emotional, I don't mean neurotic. I mean just a passionate person speaking about his hobby, or in my case, his favorite hobby. Uh, so starting with the anti-consumer practices like microtransactions. Why do most people hate this practice? Well, if microtransactions were visual only, say like skins, new outfits for characters and stuff like that, I mean, we would be fine with it. There's really nothing wrong if you want to open your wallet and pay with your money for, I don't know, say Piper's new pink hair. By all means, it's your money. But the problem is, video game developers are engaging in pay to win tactics. What is this pay to win? Well, from what I gathered, it ranges between experience boost packs in RPG games, for example, to, I don't know, new weapons, where features you can only unlock via those microtransactions. New characters like in, I think it was Star Wars Battlefront or something. And I mean, when you do that, you're just spitting in the face of your customers. I've seen people in the YouTube comment section, because that's always the bastion of intelligence, sarcasm. I've seen people in the YouTube comment section saying, "Oh, what about people who don't have the time to grind and blah blah blah?" And look, if you don't have time to dedicate to video games, don't play video games. It's not like, I mean, it's a hobby that requires time and money. Unless you're a pirate, and in that case you just need time. Sorry, but seriously though, video games require time and money from both the developer and obviously the consumer. If you don't, if you as a consumer do not have the time necessary to put into this hobby, I don't wanna be an asshole, but stay away from it. I mean, if you're just paying to win, I mean, it's like taking a, it's like going to a, I don't know, a, say mechanic school, like fixing cars and such, and instead of learning, you just pay for the diploma. I mean, it's ridiculous. You didn't even do anything. You don't deserve anything. And if you don't mind losing your sense of accomplishment, that's on you. But for other people who actually put the time, the effort to learn the game and properly play it, I mean, it's unfair. It's an unfair advantage. It's like paying. It's like I know this is controversial, and has little to do with video games, but it's like BMW paying to win at Le Mans, or Ford paying to win at Le Mans. It's exactly the same thing. You're not competitive enough, yet you pay to win. I mean, it's bullcrap in my opinion, but who am I? A nobody, apparently, in the video games industry eyes. But I mean, for me, it's bad. It's a bad practice. Video games, when they started, were supposed to be about entertaining people, and at the same time helping them develop their problem solving skills, helping them develop their reasoning skills. And now they turned into pay to win, generic, insert generic shooter name here. And I mean, it's been ruining the video game industry. Sure, this is a hobby, it's supposed to be entertaining, but there's supposed to be a challenge behind it as well. It's not just. It's not. It's, in my opinion, it's not good for you or anyone else if you just go into a game and with no skill at all and just buy your way to the top. It's. I mean, it's. Come on. Do you even feel good about yourself if you do it? No, seriously, do you feel good about yourself by when you pay to win, basically? I personally don't, but come on, I have a conscience. If you don't, well, that's on you, and there's little I can do about it. Of course, if you have been paying attention, this is a practice that is making a lot of people upset, and especially with franchises that a lot of people enjoy, say Fallout with this new fiasco of Fallout 76. They're now including pay-to-win microtransactions, if from what I could gather. Like what I said, experience boosts and damage boosts and such, instead of fixing the damn game. They're just including pay-to-win microtransactions. It's wow. Bethesda's just screwing themselves with an iron with Lucille's. If you watch The Walking Dead, Bethesda's just screwing themselves with Lucille. I'm sorry, there's no politer way to put it. Politer? Politer. Whatever. Screw you. And I mean, I personally don't like it. I abhor it, actually. But if you were one of those people who just wants to be mainstream and popular and say, oh, look at me, I play video games, I'm trendy, I'm popular, I'm hip, I'm and just pay to win, well, that alone speaks volumes about your character, and you're not the kind of person I want to ever engage with. Now, moving on before I bust a vein in my head, I want to talk about companies politicizing everything. And you might think about the more immediate examples, such as Mass Effect Andromeda, Battlefield 5, or as some have taken to call it, gender-filled female reproductive organ. Let's be honest, it's gender-filled vagina, because you have a British female sniper with a prosthetic limb perfectly wielding I think it's a Lee Enfield or something. And I mean, and then you have DICE or EA or whoever that guy was saying, oh, Battlefield 5 is about the unseen, the untold. I mean, it's so unseen that they went as far as rewriting history and rewriting the, I think it was Gunner Sights operation, the one about the Norwegian soldiers banishing, no, what's the word I'm looking for? dismantling the heavy water operation during World War II. And Dice turned it into mother teenage daughter duo overpowering professional soldiers, specifically professional German soldiers, one of the most efficient armies in history, for good or ill. Regardless of what your political positions is on the matter, the German army was very efficient and very feared during World War II. And Dice went as far as rewriting heroes, war heroes, out of their own history in order to pander to feminism. I mean, it would be fine if, I don't know, if either this sold the game as, I don't know, an alternate universe, for example. It would be fine, but they sold it as a World War II shooter based on our current quote-unquote reality. So it's, I mean, I'm pretty sure you've heard it all already. It's, you know what I'm trying to say. It's bullcrap. It's, I mean, nowhere in history have women, specifically Norwegian commandos, taken down the heavy water operation. It was two groups, I think, of Norwegian commandos, professionally trained Norwegian commandos, who dismantled the entire operation without firing a single shot. What does Dice do? Let's put a teenage mother overpowering a professional Nazi male soldier, and sexual dimorphism aside, the teenage girl was suffering from hypothermia, possibly dehydrated and hurt, and still she managed to overpower a professional soldier. I mean, this alone is freaking ridiculous. And this is exactly what people mean when they mean they're politicizing everything. Especially with games journalism. I'm pretty sure you heard about the Gamergate hashtag on Twitter. I am not on Twitter, so I wasn't very, how do you say it? I didn't follow it very much. I was aware of it, but I was on board with their goals, like integrity in video games journalism. But, well, it seems these people haven't learned a lesson yet. And what do I mean by this? You can go on Metacritic and see reviews for games like Fallout, Far Cry 5, and they say, oh, it's not political enough. I mean, it's a game about shooting religious fanatic people in Montana or Virginia or whatever. It's not supposed to be political. It's supposed to be a game for those people who come home tired after a long day of work, and they just want to pop in a video game and just shoot the hell out of NPCs to unwind. It's just that. You don't need to make it complicated. You don't need to make it political. It's not a game. It's not a bad game, but it's not a masterpiece either. I mean, I know I've been gaming for like, I don't know, 19, 20 years now. And I've played political games. I've played Metal Gear Solid. It was about the nuclear disarming. Disarming. Well, it was the anti-nuclear weapon message. Espionage, defeating a giant T-Rex-like robot loaded with nuclear warheads. So it was a political game in a way. I also remember fondly, very fondly, Oddworld, specifically Abe's Odyssey and Abe's Exodus for the PlayStation 1. And I mean, it was about slavery is bad, people, don't enslave your fellow man. Or in this case, your fellow alien thingies. Some people may say it has an anti-capitalist agenda of some sort, but those people usually wear tinfoil hats and say everything to the left of the Führer is a plot by them commie rats to take our guns and take our freedoms. Those people aren't worthy of being called people, in my opinion. But whatever, I'll not, I'll not take away their right to their opinion, even if it's a ridiculous opinion. I mean, you have people on both sides with this political nonsense going on. You have the what we call social justice warriors, or more recently NPCs, and you have the people who have their head crammed up 3 centuries ago in the past. Both sides are trying to push their political agenda onto everything, including video games and all the forms of entertainment, and it's tearing down this industry. It's especially bad with the social justice warriors because they're infecting video games. Like I said, Battlefield 5, Mass Effect Andromeda. More recently, Dragon Age 4, I think, because of some tweets one of the developers of the game, or one of the developers of the game put out. People are afraid it will be quote unquote woke, although I personally don't agree that they're woke. I think they're friggin' asleep, because no one with a fully functional sentient brain would even consider those people woke, let alone progressive. And I'll explain briefly on the pinned comment why I think that way. But I mean, people are afraid that Dragon Age will be progressive, quote unquote, will be social justicey. Dragon Age Inquisition, I mean, I liked the game. I honestly did. I still play it, as you can see by the footage. I do enjoy the game, and the only problem I really had with Dragon Age when it comes to political nonsense, it's the creme de la creme. I mean, you could remove the guy or gal or whatever, and the game would still be pretty much the same thing. So it's just a little bit of what we call virtue signaling. And I mean, there's a certain amount of progressivism, as it were, that people usually tolerate on a game. If you force your political opinions down people's throats, and you can separate your own art from your political views, I mean, it's gonna be bad. You're gonna be proverbially flayed alive. You shouldn't really do it, unless of course you're trying to use it as satire, and in which case, I mean, go ahead. I mean, I personally don't have a problem with people doing it. I'll simply not buy whatever they're selling. I won't. But this industry, I mean, it's one of the most profitable industries around, especially when it comes to entertainment. And to see it politicized and destroyed due to petty bickering about politics, it's bad. Video games are becoming political statements, and they shouldn't be political statements. They should be entertainment. They should be about, I don't know, I know this sounds very corny, but bringing people together, not divide them even more, because not everyone has your political views. Not everyone shares your political views. I mean, not everyone is either a conservative with their heads crammed up 300 years ago, nor an SJW thinking we still live 300 years ago. Well, I guess that's the explanation I'll put in the pinned comment. Both sides live in a past. One wants to go back in time. The other thinks we'll live back in time. Both sides are equally nonsensical and quote unquote mentally retarded. I'm sorry if I offended anyone with Down syndrome, but I can't think of a better term. And they're ruining this industry because they're injecting their politics into the video games. Come on. This Dragon Age 4 developer said that video games have always been political. To which I ask, please, tell me the politics behind Kurishi, Porsche Challenge, Rapid Racer or Turbo Prop Racing if you're in the States, Hercules, Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, let's see, let me look at my shelf. The Dirt video games, Race Driver Grid, and etc. etc. Please do tell me the politics behind those games. Do tell me. I'm honestly asking. Tell me what political message are those games defending. Spoiler alert, none. Sure, you can make a video game with a political message. I mean, all the World War II shooters and such have political leanings. Wolfenstein, I think, has political leanings, and that Wolfenstein, I think it was Wolfenstein's set in the States. It was incredibly SJW-y, but you know that game wasn't very successful. Like Battlefield isn't being very successful. And even now, and I mean, when people don't accept the political SJW nonsense, developers have now taken to insult people again, bringing up Battlefield 5. It's bullcrap. Don't do it. You don't say, oh, either accept it or don't buy the game, because people will say, okay, I'll not buy the game. I will not buy the game. And this results in the game being at a discount in the very first week. It's what happens. People adopted the get woke, go broke mentality. And I honestly I tend to agree. I don't have my head crammed up 300 years in the past, nor do I think we live 300 years in the past. But, I mean, I play video games personally to have fun, to escape reality, not to embrace it. And, I mean, it's about just, I had it with this political nonsense in video games. Look at the indie industries. Look at them. Little Nightmares. I think it's Bendy and the Ink Machine game or something. Undertale, you can argue it's political, but the game is just amazing. Kingdom Come Deliverance, a game that SJWs complained that didn't have enough black people. Yeah, sorry, it's set in 50th century Bohemia in Europe. You're not gonna see black people then. You're not gonna see black people at all. So, I mean, what can I do? At least the people who developed Kingdom Come stayed true to their vision, to their goals, and the game was a smashing success. That's why people say get woke, go broke. And honestly, I tend to agree. I wholeheartedly agree. Now, the final point I want to address is more of a personal opinion of mine. It's not about politics or anti-consumer behavior. It's from how do I say this? Script, not the coding, but the story side of things. I mean, video games are becoming dull, empty, dumbed down. It's like they're making video games for people without a measurable IQ. It's really, I mean, I ask myself why. I was like 9-10 years old when I played Oddworld. I didn't even know English, and I completed the hell of that game several times. I completed the puzzles, and they had some very complex puzzles. I played Legacy of Kain again without knowing English. I played a lot of Legacy of Kain. It's actually one of my favorite franchises alongside Outworld, and the puzzles were, I mean, some were good, some were bad, some were difficult, some were easy, but that's just it's like everything, it's normal. But those games had pretty awesome puzzles. They were well made. The puzzles were well made. They were complex. Some were simple, obviously. But the more you advance, the more complex were the puzzles. But the thing is, those puzzles always had a way out. You just had to stop, think, oil those little rusty gears inside your skull, and you would see the solution. If not, well, go by trial and error, the scientific method. And I mean, games back then were made for people with intelligence, were made for nosebleeds, dorks, nerds like myself. And now it's made for the bro dude and the Starbucks bimbo with, I don't know, the mental capacity of a computer mouse, for example. Which is to say, not at all. No mental capacity at all, no intellect, no IQ. It's made for people with it's made for people without any level of measurable intelligence. It's so dumbed down, like Skyrim, for example. They had the solution for the puzzle doors on the damn key. Oh, but it's to keep the Draugr in, not out. Except there are Draugr outside the boundaries of the puzzle door. So the puzzle door is, say, in the mid to late area of the the Draugr crypt, and instead of finding Draugr only after you open the puzzle door, you find them before. Yeah, it's not to keep the Draugr in. It's not to make sure a human or at least a mortal is opening that door. It's just because people are, I mean, they want to call us stupid, but they don't know how. I mean, some do. I think Metal Gear had a a little funny uh, feature, I think you call it, that if you died or were caught too many times and you had to use too many continues, your character would gain dunce hat or something like that, or something like that. Dunce as in moron, idiot. I mean, I like that feature. I would be humiliated if someone if I played a game like that. But like I said, when I didn't even know English and I played Legacy of Kain several times, I completed it several times. I played Medieval, which had some pretty decent puzzles, pretty decent boss with their own mechanics you had to explore. And now it's just, I mean, it's just awful. I mean, Dragon Age Inquisition had a pretty decent puzzle in the I forget the area. I think it's not the Western Approach. It's the area where there's kind of a civil war going on, and you had to clear the ramparts of the undead. That level, the puzzle I'm talking about, it's the one with the levers where you have to make the statue rotate, the elven statue rotate, so it fires an arrow into the, I'll call it light sources or locks, quote unquote, but I don't know what those things are. But I'm sure you know what kind of puzzle I'm talking about. With the puzzle I'm talking about. I mean, I personally thought that puzzle was pretty decent. It was pretty decent, but it was not nearly remotely compared to the kind of puzzles you find in Oddworld. It wasn't. Especially because Oddworld is those types of, it's a type of game that if a slick catches you, you die. If you step on a mine, you die. If you fall from a height, from a way too high place or into the quote unquote void, you die. It's a one hit KO kind of game. And those games require a lot of intelligence, a lot of dexterity with your fingers, with a lot of quick thinking. And that's why I like those games. They develop a lot of my intellect. They help they helped me be creative, think creatively. And I mean, ultimately, that's what video games were about, at least initially. That's why they were for dorks and nerds like me. Now are for the idiots who can't tell their face from their ass. Well, what are you gonna do? They mainstreamed this industry, and in doing so, they ruined it. And as for the story arc part, I mean, I'll not even touch Bethesda because they destroyed not only Elder Scrolls but Fallout lore as well. And I mean, Fallout 4's storyline is, I won't say bad, but it's a giant Tarantino-like cliche. I mean, I predicted the plot twist from the first moment I saw Kellogg kidnapping the baby. It's predictable unless you have an IQ of 0 or below. You can predict the damn plot twist. Then there are other franchises with this problem. Need for Speed used to have pretty decent storylines. Now it's generic bullcrap with microtransactions and very few decent automobile choices. No, very poor customization options, especially when compared with games like Underground 2 or it was Underground 2, Most Wanted. Those were the Need for Speed people like the most. And then there's games like The Witcher. People say, oh, it's a masterpiece, the game is awesome. I say, I have a very different opinion about the game. I mean, The Witcher, at least the video games are have sex. It's the rinse and repeat. I mean, it's like Hollywood. The content, the story is so dull. You have to insert sex or people are gonna start yawning, and that's not a good thing. It's a bad thing, in my opinion, at least. So if you're going to insert sex, I mean, I'm gonna have my misogynist pig moment here and say at least make women with voluptuous curves, make voluptuous women, or quote unquote thick women, because I'm tired of looking at ironing boards. I already have one. I don't need another. If you're going to have sex in the video games as a plot device and not an optional thing like Mass Effect and Dragon Age did, at least make women and men, if you're into that. At least make the characters visually appealing. Like I said, video games are about escaping reality, not embracing it even more. Which brings me to Red Dead Redemption 2. From what I gathered of the game, from what I can see of the game, I haven't played it. I mean, it's so realistic you get bored. You have to feed yourself, you have to feed the horse, you have to dress for the weather, you have to do this, that, and the other, and you just, I mean, I want a believable world, not a realistic world. I don't want to have to worry about my character being overweight or underweight, or my horse being hungry or having a cramp in the fifth leg, if you know what I mean. I mean, in my opinion, this is just bad video game design. It's like you're so deprived of ideas, so deprived of creativity. You have to insert all these bullshit mechanics to, I don't know, create content, make the game last longer. I don't know who's behind this. I said it before. It's the suits. It's the suit and ties that I have no idea what video games are about. And call me a conspiracy theorist. And I'll admit this may be a little bit tinfoil hatty, but the suits are trying to ruin this industry. I'm genuinely convinced that the suits behind it, are trying to ruin it. With the amount of bullshit video games that are coming out, like Fallout 76, for example, Battlefield 5, Red Dead 2, before Fallout 4, like, I mean, the game was not bad, but like Skyrim, I couldn't complete like one playthrough without, I couldn't complete more than one playthrough without filling it with mods to the brim, to the point where it crashed so much I had to reinstall the entire game several times. I mean, sure, those games are moddable and you can pretty much make your own experience, and it's something I enjoy in a video game, but I mean, for people who don't like modding or console players, you damn peasants! Joking if you couldn't tell. Uh, a good story, a convincing story, and an immersive environment, a believable setting. It's what makes a video game good. Obviously, mechanics have to be functional, and you have to have proper feedback. There can't be glitches. There can't be any glitches and stuff like that. The game has to be functional from the get-go. You pay 60 euros or $60 or whatever, and nowadays you get an unfinished product that will most likely crash your damn console or PC as soon as you run the executable. I mean, it's what the hell? I'm paying full price for a product that's not even bug tested. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Bethesda. Wink, 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 nudge, nudge, Rockstar. I mean, as you can see, I'm passionate about this hobby. I've been gaming, playing video games for 20 years on and off. It's something I'm passionate about. It's something that, for someone as introverted, at least like me, it's a place where you can, to quote Eminem, lose yourself. It's a place where you can escape the exhausting and depressing reality of our world, our real world, and they're bringing reality and all of its flaws to the video games. Please don't do it. We want more Legacy of Kain. We want more Crash Bandicoot. We want more Spyro the Dragon. We want more Oddworld. We want more. Heck, Alan Wake. It's one of the most brilliant video games in my opinion. The story is brilliant. The game mechanics are brilliant. I mean, we want more of those games. We don't want generic Call of Duty shooter for the bro dude you can't count to 10. We don't want that. And I think this industry is going to suffer a lot. It's going to suffer a second crash, and this time it's going to be worldwide, because the first crash was only in the States. Europe and Japan were fine and dandy. This crash, I'm afraid, is going to be worldwide, and it's because of these practices. So I'll end the video here. I hope you liked it, and leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.